Tell Bernard we'll need a fresh barrel of ale come 7. There should be a batch of fresh patrons coming once the neighboring raid wraps up. Floredia, spill near the counter. I'm taking care of a patron. Good morrow. Looking for a pint? Finest on tap on this side of town. I guarantee it. I'll have it ready for you shortly. You're a bit ahead of our usual crowd. The smell of bread bringing you in? The baker's been at it all through the day, as he does. It brings forth such a lovely smell. I'm sure I can grab some for you if you'd like. Aw, that's alright. Just give me a wave, and I can take a brisk walk for you. Anything exciting happening out there today? A siege has come to an end? Blessings are on your side, I hope. Well, I'd like to know if I should deliver congratulations or condolences. A rough day is made when the two are mixed up. I see. I thought you looked a tad rough. Can I offer you a towel to clean thy wounds? While it isn't fancy, I can dip a rag in today's wash bin. It's only been a few hours, and no one's spat their lunch in it yet. Hardly ever happens. Yeah, of course. Thine wound isn't too deep. Blessed be the elven gods. Those helmets are heavy, and if not crafted well, can dig heavily into the skin. You get what I pay for, I suppose. There. Hail be thou. Here's to hoping that doesn't happen again anytime soon, else you may get a scar. Well, consider this a warning. I'd recommend the smith down the road. A steel axe hangs outside his door. Do not visit Smith or Germain. Word around the tables is his smithing is subpar, and he cheats newcomers. It's such a shame, too. His father gave him many an opportunity to make a name for himself. Too focused on short-term gains, methinks. I know a lot because I hear a lot. And see a lot, I'd say. Warm ale keeps bellies full, crowds lively, and conversation running. Just some boring little things here and there. Regarding this tavern, let's see here. The drunks fight to pass time, others wager on the outcome, then most all of them spend their winnings here. As long as mess is avoided, I don't stop it. Outside of these walls is an entirely different story. A treasure trove of jangling. Can't say I've seen it for a few nights, though. The outside, I mean, fool. And it be nothing out of the ordinary. Just that business is faring well. 'Tis unwise to complain, I suppose. A bit more change in my apron will do me good come the colder months. Lucia, more meat for tonight's stew if you could. Thanks. Anyway, the outside. With our town being along a main trade route and multiple smaller ones, I hear a plethora of tales. Apparently, there was a spat between a lady and her tutor in Delvenschmock. Word had it that she was caught sleeping with the barn boy, pants down in the stables amongst the hunting horses. It was described in such a debauched manner. Can you believe? No, you're right. That wouldn't matter under normal circumstances. But it was said that the lady found him quite fetching and had given him flowers just days before. None of which the Duke or Duchess knew of course. Well, after the spat, I guess the tutor fled, but not without the lady snatching her wig from her head and tearing the pearls from her neck. My eyes went wide as I listened, but I could say nothing. It fills me with such a sense of safety and camaraderie to share such juicy details with you. I fear I forgot to ask your name, though. A fetching name for a fetching patron, and one that certainly smells less of waste than some of the others. That reminds me of the dung-flinging pirate from the port town Archelaus. Surely you've heard of them. Come hither. It was said that he was missing an arm and an ear, and he would sneak through town at night looking for chickens that had been left unattended. He would nab them and hoard them on his ship docked at port. It wasn't until a passerby noticed an irregularly loud amount of chickens on his tiny ship and reported it to one of the guards, to which they entered his ship and found over 42 birds flying about, untethered and presumably unfed. When confronted, he opened a cargo box upon the deck and began flinging dung at everyone that had boarded his ship. Though it was unsaid, I can't imagine he was keeping chicken dung in there, which leads to a much more vile assumption. Ugh. Not a story everyone can stomach, but certainly one that most can laugh at. Oh, here, I'll get you a refill. There she is. I hope the same kind was all right. Nay, I'm enjoying myself here before it gets too busy to think. I'll be more than glad to carry on if you'd like some peace, though. Well then, consider it a deal. The ale will stay flowing, and the stories will be rolling. I am allowed a drink once an hour, so I'll join you in ale, too. To a new friend. Today's batch turned out just fine. No wonder the patrons are in such a divine mood. Now let me try and think of another tale that caught my interest. Well, there was a rumor that a wandering merchant was selling counterfeit magic goods from questionable sources. You want to hear that one? Okay. This story goes something like, she was approaching travelers along a trade path that many rest near, and she would peddle bobs and bits that were either entirely useless or held such odd magic that they wouldn't be useful at all. It was said that she had tried peddling an orb of sorts to someone, and it had put them both in a trance, leaving them both in an unconscious state for hours in the forest. I heard that the traveler was saved by a passing knight, but I'm unsure what came of her. Someone claimed that she was trying to sell a feather from a phoenix and a brooch from a duke whose city fell. That hasn't happened anywhere near us in hundreds of years, so the likelihood of it all was, very unlikely. Exactly. That's insane. And along the lines of magic users doing dubious things, another was accused of enchanting all of his scrolls to the opposite of what they were labeled once. Oh my god, yeah, that happened like right in town. It was so crazy. So, according to the tale, a fresh young wizard that had just moved here. Well, this was no less than 3 years ago, but at the time, he was very new to the neighborhood, so to speak. He had wagons of furniture, relics, magic items, things that you would expect. It all looked very standard, pretty promising even. However, the very first customer that had walked into his shop was greeted by something he called the Hammer of Great Blessings. Take a guess what that did. Yeah. He was blessed with blunt force trauma to the skull, along with a few other things from the fall. Thankfully, the wizard was able to mend that poor patron's head, shoulders, knees, and toes right away, but that didn't fare well for his business, and he was chased out shortly after. Oh yes, he was chased. I believe it took 3 incidents before the townsfolk had enough. It was the scrolls that really did him in. Something about an adventurer attempting to use a scroll of growth one night while staying at the inn above Smith Germain's, though unfortunately was actually treated with a scroll of shrinkage. He was hopping mad, raging so loudly half the town could hear. Oh my gosh. He ended up tripping over his own pants and fell through the window, lying square in the middle of the road for all to see. That poor bastard was so wroth when he woke up that he pulled up his pants and stomped all the way to this wizard and began hollering, demanding his payment back plus some for the embarrassment. I swear, the cows were shaken by how loud he was yelling. 'Twas a sight to be seen, really. Oh, the little guy did, right away even. But the rest of the town was upset by the whole ordeal and practically chased him out. Would you like to know the most mad part of it all? Okay, come here. I cannot say this aloud. The lady he was laying with was a daughter of the innkeeper from just down the road. Once word had gotten out that she stayed in another inn, her mother had steam puffing out from her ears. I suppose it's bad business to stay at a competitor, isn't it? What else? The newest one that comes to mind is about a skirmish that happened not too long ago, actually. A lad by the name of Jebediah was a part of it. Not a big part, but a part nonetheless. Apparently, the loot was a lie, and most left empty-handed, except Jebediah, as he had fallen asleep in one of the rooms adjacent from the treasure room. Supposedly, he was able to uncover a secret entrance and found that the loot was just incredibly well hidden, though it wasn't gold or jewels or anything of that sort. Take a guess at what it was. Not armor, not weapons, nothing like that. It was fancy enchanted pens. Now, I couldn't tell you if they were actually enchanted, but from what I heard, they were really nice and would be worth a few shiny pieces even without magic. Last I heard, he was visiting a neighboring town to see if there was an appraiser who would be willing to look at them for him. Who knows if they're real, but them being hidden so well does invite a bit of hope, right? I just hope he doesn't have to share it with his sister Kathleen. Ugh, she's more trouble than she's worth. I had the displeasure of working with her at a shop when we were young. Her hair felt like hay and she smelt like a steed. Standard, if not for the fact that she lived nicely and did not have a barn, nor animals to care for. She was spoiled rotten, but not in a way that made her a proper lady. She was just unpleasant to speak with and to smell. Thankfully, I don't have to be with her often. Goodness, how long have I been sat with you? I'd better be off. Lucia's gonna throw me in the stew if I don't return. Consider it a parting gift. It's bound to be busy soon, so you can enjoy it in my stead. Thank you for the company. I'll be sure that your glass stays full tonight, as long as you'd like. Be well. I'll see you around.